greatest show on earth.
Welcome back to the Con Culture Convo, guys. I'm back. Welcome back to me too, because I've been gone for a few weeks.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Tim, it's me.
Chrissy's
You don't
back.
have to guess. It's me. It's me. You
It's
you
me.
did a few episodes
Hi.
without me
I'm the
with
problem. It's me.
a couple lovely ladies and
Yeah, it was
by
great.
yourself.
I
Hopefully
will
you guys
say
enjoyed
this:
those.
doing it with the ladies is much better than doing it by myself.
Wow.
So
Took a swing at that easy one, huh? Little softball there. Underhand pitch. Good job. Knocked it
well,
to first
out of the
base. No, definitely not out of the park. But, you know, you did your best, and that's all we can really ask for from you.
Well,
You held down the fort is really what I'm saying, and that's a good thing.
well, like
So I'm
my
glad
level,
you,
I can't even get to first base. So
You know, I had a spy mission I had to be on for 3 weeks, so I'm back though.
yes.
I'm back.
Thank God.
Yeah. I
Looking
know.
forward to seeing you as the next Superman. So that's pretty
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
cool.
I mean, if you right now you're enjoying some freedom in your own home, you're welcome. Okay. You don't even know. You're welcome. Anywho, we're
It's the large event.
large events here to sum up 2024 in a nutshell. The whole year. Just in a little ball. We're going to do it up. We're going to do the worst, the best, I don't know,
Everything
things
between.
that scared
Yep.
Tim. I don't know. It all happened in 2024. We're going to talk about it. The Con Culture Convo is supported by Toy Temple. Toy Temple is one of the largest Funko and exclusive pop culture distributors in the United States. They specialize in providing an experience for fans through events, experiences, and an easy-to-navigate website full of unique collectibles at incredible prices. They have 9 retail stores in Arizona, booths at San Diego and New York Comic-Con, and a fast-growing website with 24/7 customer service. So head on over to thetoytemple.com, and we have a special for our Convo listeners. Use promo code CONTALK15 to take 15% off your next order. That's thetoytemple.com. And thanks to Toy Temple for supporting the Convo.
Let's kick off this 2024 kind of end all recap.
Let's do it.
We did our half year one.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we, in the summer?
And it's kind of crazy thing about that. That was like almost 6 months ago.
Wow. That is
Isn't
kind
that
of
crazy?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Time flies by when you're having fun at a Con Culture Convo.
Well, I guess we talked about everything. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in 2025.
Later. All right.
Fun.
So we wrote down a couple of kind of questions and segments that we're going to talk about with 2024. We're going to kind of wrap it up with a little bow, give it to you as a gift, and send you on your way to 2025.
There you go.
So we wanted to do the first kind of cliche easy one, which was what was your overall best show of the year?
You know, it's crazy. I really kept thinking it was going to get better, but I think I actually mentioned this in their 6-month one, but Denver ended up being my best show of the year, which I think was one of your worst shows. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That's going to change though. I'll be back. I'm
sure it will.
I'm going to fuck shit up in 2025 at Denver. Just telling you right now, I'm calling it.
Sweet.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Don't let him in. He's threatening the show.
That's not going to fuck shit up. Let's go, girl.
What?
Sorry, I'm flexing my manhood, obviously.
Is that what we're doing? Oh, no.
You know,
this whole time I thought manhood was something else.
As I'm wearing my pink and light blue Taylor shirt.
You would have a Swiftie shirt on.
Flex.
You are flexing it. Or something. Yeah, Denver. Somehow your worst show was my best show. And what was your best show?
Planet by far.
Oh yeah,
but
Planet
was fantastic.
It's a good show.
Ironically, like financially is really good, but then like personally, it was really, really shitty. So it was, there's weird drama and dumb shit happening at the show that I had to deal with.
Well, if you're there, it follows you.
Yeah.
Boom.
I don't have
roasted.
Drama. Wow, that was great. Okay, so moving on. But yeah, so let us drop the line in YouTube. Instagram, wherever, TikTok, wherever you're seeing this.
Post a
I'd
below.
love to know what your best
Yeah.
show
Best and
of the
worst.
year. Yeah. So
2024.
all right, then
Was
let's
it
do worst.
Denver?
What was
Was your
no,
best
it
Denver
wasn't.
too? I heard a lot of people didn't do well at Denver.
Financially, it was New York.
Your worst show?
Yeah, just
Again,
because of
isn't
the
that crazy?
cost.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
wasn't like
Oh.
it wasn't like the show itself. Like they didn't bring any people and it was empty and blah blah. Like
No.
it was almost
A lot of
worse
people.
than that. I almost wish it was empty because then it would have had a reason for everything being so bad.
Right. I know.
But this one was just justifiably awful in every which way.
Yeah.
I mean,
that show is. Well, we've talked about it. That show is
risky.
it's a real commitment. Let's just say that.
It
It's
is.
a nice word. It's a big
Yeah,
commitment.
and it's one of those things where like a lot of variables that were out of my hands, which pissed me off.
Right.
The union, the setup, like there's so many variables that like when you can't control as a business owner are so frustrating, like just beyond frustrating. So it wasn't it was the worst show, not sales wise. It was actually one of my better show sales was ishly, like right in the middle, upper middle, but
right.
Just financially, profit wise, I didn't make one. And at that show, you expect that to kind of get you through quarter four.
And if you don't make a profit, then it's a bomb. It doesn't matter how much money you made or how many sales you made.
Yeah,
it's a bomb because it didn't even break even. So
yeah, and will we be back? Of course. Am we doing it again? Of course.
I know.
You have to. But it was frustrating. Oh, I haven't got mine yet. Oh, have they been listening to the podcast? Oh,
again. It is what it is. I'll keep going as long as I get accepted.
New York makes me drink, not in a positive way.
This is my super excited to get into New York again.
Yay.
I mean, again, it's better than not, I guess. But then most of the time I disagree. Like it's just so much stress, man.
Yeah. So New York for me, what is big time Chris Bauer's most underperforming show of the year?
I mean, underperforming. Well,
like that one that you were disappointed by, where you're like, I can't believe I lost, or I can't believe I only made blah blah blah.
Yeah. I was disappointed. I won't even officially say that show because MomoCon was a little bit under what I was hoping for, but I wasn't disappointed when MomoCon. I still had a great show.
Yeah, it was so successful, but it should have been better.
Exactly.
I think this year it will be.
I hope so.
This year I think it will be. Yeah. 2025, I think it'll have a bounce back year.
I want to say Colorado Springs, and I love my boy Burgie, but they in the week or two leading up to it, Ray Park canceled and a couple other headliners canceled, and man, you could feel it. And it was
there's no energy.
Was bad because this was my first year getting finally into the good room, and it was still I did better last year in the bad room. Which we've discussed Colorado Springs, but it was disappointing to be in a better booth, better position, and it still underperformed that way. And I really didn't see that one coming. That one felt like it was going to be up. So that was a big disappointment. I of course re-upped. I love doing that show. I think it will bounce back. I'm hopeful, but to this year, it was a big bummer, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's obviously no reflection on Burgie or the company itself, and not.
There was a lot of people there too.
Rhode Island.
They brought a crowd in. I think I said this in our review of it. They cleared out very early, but that has been a standard at every show this year, pretty much.
Correct.
Very few people stay for the last 2 hours of Saturday anymore. I don't know why that's a trend, but I guess we should talk about that now. We've mentioned it before. But since we're summing 2024 up, it's pretty much been consistent every show.
I said this early on in the year. No one was like, Tim, you're being a little bit over. Like, that's not true. Dude, by like second quarter, I was like, okay. But by like the second half of the year, man, every single show dies at 5:00.
Yeah. Some of them before. But yeah, 5 o'clock is pretty much the cutoff on Saturdays this year. It turns into a ghost town, or the ones that are there just don't spend any money. It's like it's really tough to make sales after 5 p.m. on Saturdays this year.
Actually, the next question was what was kind of some disappointing things about 2024 overall. And for me, compared, you and I have been in this industry forever.
Yeah.
And the most disappointing thing that I think 2024 has brought to the limelight is how kind of like attendees have adapted and changed, but it's not, they still have the same kind of money that they have. They still have the shopping experience that they have, but I don't get why pecans are adding tens of things to do, blah, 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 blah. They're doing everything they can to keep people there. But
Right.
every single Friday this year fucking sucked.
Well,
Like
yeah.
they just did. It was
Yeah.
like Friday, people didn't want to shop. I'll be here all weekend. That was every single
There was only a
person's
couple Fridays
excuse.
that were good. Most
Good,
of
but not
them
great.
were
Like
terrible.
Planet was really good.
Yeah.
Huntsville was really good. You know,
Yeah.
there's a couple of codes that had like really good Fridays. Like, all right, cool, but they
Sure.
weren't great. But
Right.
Saturday was awesome at both of those shows.
Sure.
But even then, they still died early. And it's like
Yeah.
Friday, you have basically 3 hours to make money
Yeah.
at
That's
every
pretty
single
typical.
show. Saturday, now you have basically from 11 if you're lucky, but realistically noon to about 5 o'clock to
5.
make money.
Yeah.
And 5 hours is not enough to have a 3, 4, 5, 6K day that
No.
could cover your whole weekend, pay the bills, and make sure that Sunday is going to be entirely profitable.
Yeah.
Now, Sunday is like every show is fucking 11 to 2 on Sunday.
Yeah.
No matter what time it starts, no matter what time it ends, it's 11 to 2 day.
I'd say noon to
And that
2.
sucks.
It could be noon to
Yeah.
3, but most time it's been noon to 2.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
rough, man. 2 to
It
3
is.
hours to make money. Even gangbusters, you're still only making a couple grand. You're not making,
Yeah.
you know, there's not enough time in the day to really, you know, make, because if you
Yeah.
do in 3 hours, even if you're slammed, you can't really do more than 50 transactions.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
it hasn't. There's been very few times I've been slammed this year. I mean, really,
Yeah.
very, really random few times.
Do you have a show where you like felt like, oh shit, this is epic, like slammed? Because I haven't had one all year.
You know what's crazy? No, because even my best show in Denver, I don't remember ever being like,
It was
"Oh my
consistent.
god, that
Yeah.
was crazy."
Every time I came by your booth, it was like you had 20, like 15 people at your booth, but none
Yeah,
of you weren't like having, hold on one
it's
second,
not
let me get you, let me get you.
transactions. Yeah,
No, they're
they're
hanging out
looking.
and 3 people are buying out of the 15. And then they're
I mean,
replaced by another 3 that buy.
I do
You
have a
know,
theory, obviously. Every con. Oh, let's talk about the other thing that happened this year, and it happens all the time. I'm not going to act like it was just this year, but this year it's been very obvious. Every con in the industry, I'm not going to say they've gotten greedy, but they are all just jacking their vendor prices way up. They're
and
not even
ticket
doing the
prices
50,
and
yeah,
ticket
ticket.
prices
These
and
little
ticket prices,
$50
man.
increments are gone. It's $150, $200,
Yeah.
$300 over the following or the previous year. And they're all doing it. And they're all making that money on the vendors' backs.
Can I
And
tell you why they're doing that? Besides,
I know
like,
why
I
they're
mean, you could
doing
say
it.
greed, but like, I don't think
Well,
that's
no, but
fully
it
it.
covers all of their they want to lower their risk.
Yes, but they also, it's because another problem that we're having, I guess this is going to be a end section that we're going to talk about, but it's because of these guest lists at these fucking shows. You know how
Yeah.
expensive it is to bring out,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm bringing out 15
is.
guests at my
Yeah.
Greenville show. I'll break it down numbers. I'm bringing 15, 16 celebrity guests, anime voice
Yeah.
actors, like 5 agents, like 4 handlers, stuff like
Yeah.
that, with hotel and their flights. It's almost 50 grand.
Yeah. Also,
I
in
mean,
addition to that,
it's 40
and this
grand for
is
that. And
and
that's a
this is
small
at
guest
every
list.
show now, these celebrities have now, instead of, hey, it's $50 for my autograph, $60 you want a selfie. Now it's $50 if you want a pre-signed photo, 75 to 80 if you want an in-sign. There's all these tiers they've been adding now so that they can get more money. And that's been consistent at every show. And you know this is management, talent management pushing this. Because they get
It's
a
agents,
bigger cut.
period, end of story.
Yeah. And that is completely killing the pocket money of con attendees. They're coming to meet this favorite celebrity. And then instead of dropping $100 as it used to cost them, they're dropping $200 to $250 on the same celebrity.
Yeah.
So they can
And they're
get all
doing
these
that
little
5
perks.
times. They're doing that fucking
Yeah.
5 times, and they've spent $1,000 because the tickets were $120 for Saturday to get in.
Right,
Get the
right.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
$25 to park, $25 for chicken nuggets and French fries at the concession
$40
stand.
to park in a lot
It's
of
it's
places.
getting out
Yeah.
of hand. We're like, before they walk in the door, they've spent
Yeah.
$1,000.
Yeah. And so when they
What do you
come to
think?
your booth and you say $20 for a print and they
Like,
cringe, it's because they have no money left. They've been
yeah,
fleeced by everybody else on the way in. And that sucks
yeah,
for vendors because vendors, all of our costs have gone up too,
yeah.
including all the booth costs,
And
and
we're
somehow
making
we're
less money.
making less profit.
Yeah.
So it
It's a
sucks.
really it's a really bad math equation right now, guys, in the
Yeah.
industry where like costs are increasing and sales are going down.
Yeah. But
Friend of
even
the
if the
show,
sales are staying the same as previous, you're making less money. And they're not
yeah,
really staying the same. They're still going
friend
down.
friend of the show, Damon Bowie, and I had like an hour-long conversation yesterday, which is pretty short for a conversation with him. And we had a discussion, literally came up as that because we're looking at numbers, and he goes, I told him, a lot of people I'm talking to were they did roughly the amount of same sales, like maybe down 10%, which is okay, that's cool. But their costs have gone up between 20 to 30% from
Across the board.
2022 to
Yeah, dude.
2024.
100%.
That's insane.
In fact, since we're talking about it, we can trace the beginnings of this back to 2022. And it's because of the explosion of money in the industry that happened right after COVID. All these promoters were like, oh, I'm going to get mine too. But they just keep doing it now because they got that big influx of cash. And they're like, oh, I'll do this every year. And all of them are doing it now. And now the money's stabilized and going back down, and they're still jacking them up. It sucks, man. It really
do
does.
Do you think we could have a situation where attendees just stop coming to shows?
No. Attendees are always going to come to shows. They just are. However, vendors, no, it won't work either. This goes to our whole vendor union debate that's been happening for 20 years. We've always talked about it. There's never been a bigger need for it than right now, but it can't happen because, again, of all the ACers and just in general, all the vendors that don't care. We're all separate businesses. We're not a corporation. And if we boycott and you get 50 other vendors to boycott, there's 75 more vendors ready to grab those booths.
Yeah.
It sucks because the promoters have us over a barrel. They know it. And they always have, but they've always been decent. And the last 2 years, they have just quit being decent because they know someone's going to buy that booth. They don't care if it's you anymore. It sucks.
So while we're on that topic of having like these shows where you're making less money, period, do you have any shows going forward in 2025 and on that you're either just like this year was the dagger where you're either going to not do it anymore or you're just going to hit a pause button and give it like 2 years off or whatever? Do you have a list of those, or do you have a couple?
I don't
do you
have
have
a
one?
list.
Do you have none?
There's several probably. I mean, one comes to mind.
Or let me ask you this. Well, let me ask you this then. What about locations? Location is actually almost more based than a con itself. For example, like there are some cities where I'm sorry, Houston, you can stay the fuck out of there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's 95 shows a year in Houston now, and they can't suffice more than 2.
I know.
Every show has struggled there.
Dallas
Every
is
single
really getting to be that way as well. And I'm going to go ahead and add
Orlando.
Chicago to the list. Chicago has just gotten so many shows that underperform now.
All of them. All of them.
And there's too many shows in each of these cities, and they just keep underperforming. And the people don't have enough time between shows to save up any money. There's shows every other weekend in all these cities. And that's not enough time for you to have a substantial earning, base from people coming in with money. Yeah. It's tough, man. There's cities that could use more than one show, I think, and then there's a lot of cities that really shouldn't have more than one show, and those are the cities that have 20. It's definitely rough. Yeah, Orlando's definitely another one of them because that city never needed more than a couple of cons a year. It's not a very lucrative city.
Orlando should have MegaCon, they should have a bigger anime show because they never had one take off, which is silly because they absolutely could. Obviously, Hall Map, but like, I think that's thing. It's its own unique, unique thing. But you look at these cities, and there's just certain ones where I'm like, I don't ever want to go back there. And
Right.
like for example, I love Portland. They can't hold a good
Me
show right
too.
now.
No,
And
they can't. And
for
it's
me,
so
it's
far
always,
away.
yeah, for me now that I'm in the South, it's like the Southeast.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I'm looking at flights just and playing with doing some shows there. And
It's
dude, I
far.
mean, 550, $600 round trip, expensive as fuck hotels. You have to be
Yeah.
there for 4 days, maybe sometimes five. And like, you can't pair shows anymore. For some reason, there's a
No, it's
thousand
tough.
shows, but like, there's none that are in order where it's easy to line up. You're
No.
going to Chicago one weekend, Dallas the next, Portland the next, and then fucking
Yeah.
Florida the next. And you're just
I
like,
know.
oh,
Yeah,
God.
it's been a little rough scheduling wise. I've noticed for next year.
2025 sucks for scheduling so far. I have 2 weeks off and times like in May, I have 2 weeks off and I have like 7 shows on Memorial Day weekend. And I'm like,
I know.
cool.
I know. It's
Cool.
weird they all pick the same weekends to just pile on, and you're like weekends before and after it are just wide open. It is weird, and they all have the same excuse. Oh, that's the dates that the convention has. I'm sure that's true on some of them, but a lot of it's just no. You want to do it on that weekend, and
Well, I
it's
mean,
the
you have to
weekend
think about
everybody else is
this.
doing it.
You know, like we have to fight for stuff like with the, our Anime Town Utah show. Like we were given dates we didn't want, and we talked to them like at this show in May, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're entirely booked up for all of May next year." And I'm like, "Okay, you didn't contact us. You didn't tell us." Like, yeah. So all the stuff that we're talking about with promoters being a little bit more assertive, a little bit more kind of what we'd call money hungry, and
Right.
and they have every right to do that. I'm not,
Sure.
we're not shitting on them for that, but like it sucks for us.
It does.
It is what it is. But for every con we do, there's a con just like that in some other industry that's doing the same fucking
That's true.
thing. Their
Because every
monies are
industry
blowing up.
has conventions and
The
meetings
dentist
and
conventions, the dances, the wrestling,
book
there's so many
conventions.
things
Yeah.
going on. Oh my God, there's so
Sports
many things
card
going on.
shows.
Car shows.
Yeah.
Oh, trading card shows are insane. They've taken off like crazy.
Huge. Yeah.
God, I wish I could be a trading card vendor because you can make 3 transactions in a weekend and come out with 10K profit and literally have like 2
Collecticon's
boxes.
added what 10 shows to their roster. I mean, they're
what,
pulling a
18?
Wizard World.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, man. There's a lot of shows out there. There's still new shows springing up left and right, and all of them now want top dollar. Nobody wants to do $200 booths anymore. No, that's crazy talk.
So while we're on this note, let's flippity floppity boo that.
Sure.
And let's do what was your most improved show?
Improved.
Like, what was the one where you're like, you're happy to go there, you made that money, it either stayed the same or went up? Because for me, I think if you did the same you did this year as you did last year and the year before at a show, it's up. As much as we hate to say that.
I wouldn't even necessarily say improvement has to do with profits for me. It's more of like an improved experience, and not even improved. I was reminded this year, and every year I've done it, that a little show in Roanoke, Virginia, Big Lit Comic Con, treats their vendors like absolute kings. And was it JD, I think, is their promoter, their vendor promoter.
JP?
JP. I apologize, JP. Kills it. Like they have a special rate at the con hotel for vendors. They've got
it's cheap. Like it's not like you're staying at a Courtyard for like $59 a night, $69 a night.
And they do free drinks at night for the vendors with also free hors d'oeuvres. And then they have a little green room thing. Also, Motor City Comic Con has always had that artist green room for their guests. It's nice when a lot of these shows cost a lot of money to do, and they're not unique. They're all costing a lot of money to do, but it's really nice when you can see a show giving back to the vendors in a little way of, hey, we value you. We know that you're spending a lot of money to be here, and we hope you're making good money. But in the meantime, here's some little perks that you don't normally get everywhere. And I think for me that stood out more this year with so much taking and out of our pockets. It was nice just to get a little back in a little way like that from a couple of different shows. That's what I guess I would put that in that category. It might not be improved profits, but it was still a nicer experience.
Yeah, let me jump in on that because as I've talked about on the show, and you'll recall, is they had a big lick in Roanoke the week after MegaCon this year,
Right.
in
Right.
2024, and that was when I got my in both COVID and or influenza B and my tooth infection all in the same week.
Oof.
And
Oof.
I messaged him on Facebook and I said, "Hey, JP, like I am dead." And I showed him like, my face was literally swollen. So there was no
Yeah.
hiding that I had issues. I said, I can't make the show. I'll happily, if you could, I would love if you could roll it over to the show. Dude, I'm telling you, Chris, within 5 minutes, I had a refund on
Yeah.
PayPal.
And
5 minutes,
that is so
not even a question
rare.
to ask, and literally messaged me back with a fucking paragraph about, "Hey man, I'm really bummed you, blah blah blah. I went through this last year, it sucked, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about your spot for next year; it's saved. I'll pull someone off the wait list, and here's your money back, blah blah.
Yeah.
Like feel better,
That's
please. I
awesome.
look forward to seeing you at another show."
And almost impossible because just people they don't act like that toward vendors. We get taken for granted by 99% of the industry. And it's so nice when you have a promoter that genuinely cares about their vendors.
Yeah,
It's so rare. Holy cow, is
yeah,
it rare?
it
If you're a
is.
promoter and
I
you're
mean,
watching this, you have to do so little, just so little to make us sit here and be like, you're the greatest promoter ever. Just
yeah,
care about your vendors a little bit. They really
because
are paying
you
your
know
entire bills for the whole show, usually, and just care about them.
Yeah,
That's all we
and
need.
Big Lick is not it's not going to be a top financial show you're going to do of
No,
the year. It's not.
it's a
But you
decent
know what?
show.
If I'm available on that weekend, I'm doing it.
I know because
Like
that's
this year's the
just
same weekend as
awesome.
my show in
Yes, it
Greenville,
is.
so I
That's
can't be
true.
there.
That's true.
Um, and I'm hoping it's not the same next year because I would love to. I would love it for it to be the week after my show so I can
Sure.
go. It's a nice time.
It is,
Not nice
man. It's
time of year to
always a
be
nice
there, but it's
time.
just a nice time to be
You're going
there.
to make some
He's
money
genuinely nice,
and
and
you're
yeah,
just going to have a good time and you're going to feel taken care of. And it's not a
no,
feeling that vendors normally get. It just
no,
isn't.
not at
As
all.
sad as that is.
Um, And little fun fact, I don't know if you saw this, but
Yeah,
they just announced a new show that they're doing in
I
Greensboro,
did
North
see
Carolina.
that. I saw
Yeah.
that. And it's going to be in the fall, in the first weekend of October.
Yep.
Greensboro, North Carolina, Big Lick.
Yeah.
It's definitely a
I
weekend
mean,
that I would
hit that up
consider
on your
doing
way
it.
up to New York,
That's what I was saying because New York's now back on
man.
its old weekend, the second
Yeah,
weekend of
the second
October.
weekend. Yeah, slide
So
up
that would
on
be a
there,
good
and
one.
that's it. I think look. This is the one thing that like promoters, if you're watching this, Chris and I are literally considering adapting our schedule, getting rid of another event to do this show strictly based off the promoter and how much we like him.
100%. Yeah, I've never done a Greensboro, North Carolina show. I also don't like doing first year shows, but I
Yep.
also know I'm going to have a good experience no
Yep.
matter what happens. And it's on the East
So
Coast, puts me in position for a Monday night arrival in the New York area. That's perfect.
correct. All
So,
right. So
yeah,
we're getting to my favorite discussion that you and I actually had a phone call about a few days ago.
sure. Yeah.
Um, the biggest downfall decision making of a con and how what they
Yeah.
did this year for you.
Mm. So, and this was recent. This was near the end of the year.
Yep.
But Anime Weekends Atlanta broke a 20-year streak of being an awesome show to
Mm,
being, oh
mm.
my God, why is this show on fire? Um, First
Not
off,
good
they
on fire.
changed off of their no. Well, there's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there is some good on
Yeah.
fires. That was not the case for Anime Weekends Atlanta this year. They definitely had a big fall from grace. They've had that show for over 20 years. It's been a hotel show, but which is why it's always been really good. And again, I'm not going to fault a promoter for taking a leap of faith and be like, "Hey, we've been doing this a while. Let's grow," which they did. They went to the Georgia Congress Center. However, they did. I don't even know how they made the decision to do all the stuff that they did. But like you and I have done how many shows over the years at the Georgia Congress Center? Countless. Not one
Yeah.
time have I ever been told by a union that I have to go to a marshaling yard for several hours, like we do at some other big cities. Not one
Yeah.
time. And that was what the experience was at AWA. I don't know if that's something that the Congress Center is going to do going forward. I hope to God
I hope
not.
not.
But my guess is they got sold a bill of goods that they were just told they had to do it. And the truth is, it was just more money for that union.
What, was it a Freeman union?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm just
it was.
kidding.
No.
Fuck. Okay.
The whole thing was
I was
the
making fun of
union
them.
said they had to. And my guess is they say that to everybody, and everybody's like, no, we're good. And then you never deal with it. Because we've never had any problems moving into the Congress Center.
No,
It's usually
you
pick
drive
the hall,
in,
drive up to the back, and you just load in. There's never an issue. And people were having to go sit. Well, that's usually the line is usually just the line of vendors. They're not being put into a marshaling yard and sitting there for 3+ hours waiting for someone to call them so that they can go unload. Then kicking everyone out at 6 p.m. on load-in day, even though they had just gotten in there after sitting all day in a marshaling yard.
If you get there at 2 o'clock, which is an appropriate time to get there.
Sure, 100%.
Like, and yet it closes at 6.
Yeah.
I think I was setting up a MomoCon until like 10 p.m.
100%. Yeah, and it's really weird the stuff that they were doing. Then you had a very small crowd, and again, maybe it was the regular size crowd for that hotel show they're normally at, but because you're in a much larger convention, it is spread out. It looks like a very low crowd. I think everybody saw pictures at midday on Saturday, and it was a ghost town, and everyone was just being like, I haven't even made my booth back. This is a 4-day show, ladies and gentlemen. If you're at a 4-day show, and we've all been there, where
they went from 3 to 4 too with the move.
They were at 4 at the hotel the last few years. They only did that a few years ago. I think it was just before COVID that they went from 3 to 4 days. So that was continuing, but that was just brutal this year. Everyone was just dying, not making any money. I know people that barely made a profit at all by Sunday, which at a 4-day show, come on.
And a big show, one that's notorious for being fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, they have so many rules and they don't allow all these things in because of this and that and blah, blah. It's like when you get in, you feel special and you're like, oh, that's right. Like, I mean, one of my artist clients did it in 2019 and it was her best ever show, period.
Yeah. Oh, my artists have been doing it for years, and it's always a huge show for them. And they are really unhappy about this year. And Loadout was just as brutal as Load In.
Oh God, I can't even imagine.
And it's like there was a whole lot of decisions that went into that show that really shouldn't have happened. And
I mean, are they under new management or something? Like, is there new?
I don't think so. I think they just have never dealt with a convention center, and they did every newbie and rookie mistake that you would make in that situation. I think that's what happened. Have
they publicly said why they moved?
No, I think they said they outgrew it, because that was what they said last year when they announced the move.
Bullshit! I'm so tired of that excuse.
I know.
I outgrew a huge hotel.
Yeah, really.
Like, I mean, what are you talking about? People like hotels.
They want
hotel cons are cool.
They want to grow as a company. I'm not faulting them for thinking they need to move, but there are people that do the move in a transition like that with way less fatalities, which is basically what half the people that ended there aren't coming back.
How many? Let me ask you this then, Chris. I'm going to go off the top. I can't think of one off the top of my head right now. And how many anime, Comic-Con, pop culture shows, whatever, horror shows, whatever that we're talking about, have moved that are large, not like a 1,000 person show, but at least 5, 10, 15,000 attendees moving on, because they outgrew a hotel movie convention that ever were successful.
I know.
Like, better than the hotel version of it.
Definitely not the first year.
Well, no, give me one. Give me one that moved on when it had 20,000 people. I'm telling you, there's none. Like, I think Hall Matt from like,
well,
I'm a little worried about that because it gives off the vibe that it gives off the vibe of the hotel party show. It's not a party show
hotel party show anymore. So it's a whole different vibe.
It's just another convention.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is my favorite show of the year to do for a reason.
Yeah.
For a reason.
I will
never agree with them moving. Never agree. Hell, I'll put it this way. I even talked to them, and I talked to someone in management. I said, you guys are better off moving the show to like Nashville and going to like the Gaylord, or like going to an exclusive event. Hell, I'm like, you guys can make it a new city every year.
Yeah.
And it would be just as popular, because they have 70 something percent of their people come from out of state.
Yeah.
And also, I think that's why AWA got shit on, because they decided to go up against a very popular show that a lot of people from Georgia go to.
Yeah.
And guess what? In October, you didn't have any competition.
No, it's true.
The last week of October, you had no shit.
Halloween weekend was kind of their weekend.
It worked.
Yeah, they're going to have to do a lot. I hope that they take the feedback that people forced on them and gave them. I hope that they take that and make some changes for next year. But right now,
you know what it is? You know what it is?
In 2024.
Dude, the next year's dates are fucking the same weekend as Hallmat. How are you going to be better than Hallmat? You're not going to be better than Hallmat.
Not after this year. Well,
I mean, there's going to be thousands of people.
Hallmat and AWA did the exact same move this year. So I guess we'll see who wins the battle of that weekend next year. But
I don't think either one of them necessarily wins it. I think they both get by, but I don't think they're going to thrive.
Who doesn't win is the vendors. The vendors lose in
the
this situation
at this point. And the attendees. Because if you're going to a show for 3, 4, 5, I mean, most people I know from Hallmat, I've been doing it since 2017 or something. Yeah. And I tell you, I looked forward to it. For me, once New York Comic Con hit, it meant that, oh shit, Hallmat's coming up. And this is when I lived in California. I flew all the way to the thing. I would stay at the World Marriott. Yeah. And like, I forgot something. I'm staying at the World Marriott. I go upstairs and I'm down in my booth, back in my booth in 7 minutes.
Sure.
And stay there, and you would even leave. A lot of people would go there. One, it was
parties
safer,
and people look forward to the hangout.
There was a vibe. The theming was fantastic. Everything about it was great. I mean, how many places can you go in the United States a week, 2 weeks before Christmas, and go to a fucking Christmas themed pool party when it's 78 degrees outside?
I know. They had a lot of stuff going for it.
It did.
I know.
And I think
we'll see how it ends up. I mean, both those shows are going to need at least 2 to 3 years to get on their feet, and we'll see which one comes out on top. I would hate that they keep going up against each other, though.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this on AWA. I'm not going to do their show, probably because I can't get accepted, so I don't really care at this point.
Oh, I'm sure you can get accepted this coming year if you're wanting to get in there. I assure you, there's going to be open booths, big time.
But like, what is different about AWA now that it's at the World Congress Center? How is it any different than Atlanta Comic Con, MomoCon?
It's none. Not a single thing is different.
Dragon Con. I think it's a worse experience in all of them at this point.
Well, I will say this: MomoCon has been at the Congress Center for many years, and they have pulled off. That is a hangout vibe con. That's got the whole thing.
Because they went for the gaming side of it. That's why it's a gaming convention. In theory,
they've also adjusted to being in that Congress Center. I don't remember the days of Momo I know they started at a hotel, but I didn't do it back then. I only did it once.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. So I don't know what the vibe was back then, but I think they've been successful. But look how long it's taken them. I do think AWA has a shot at it, but it's going to take them a few years to get on their feet. And again, it's at the vendor's expense. December's tough. I'll say this also: the only bad anime show, bad MomoCon I've ever had was the one they did in December, right after COVID.
Terrible. Oh my god, that show was so bad.
Show. Yeah. And that was in December, right there at the Congress Center.
Yeah.
So it could just be a December's a really bad month to have a show there at the Congress Center. I really don't know. That's my only point of reference is both those shows, and both did not go well.
We've had discussion a lot during pre-COVID and kind of beginning of AC, and we always talked about Atlanta was kind of immune to too many shows.
To be, yeah, it did.
I don't think that's the case anymore, Chris.
I agree. I agree. I would take Atlanta off that list. I've done several.
I don't know if there's anywhere that's now not going to be taken off that list.
No, and I'll tell you why I think that is. There are more shows than there's ever been, and everywhere, and nationwide, and no matter what, even if it's not in your direct city, it's within an hour of your city. Yep. And man, when you have that, it's a saturation thing. I love that there's lots of choices for vendors to do, but it does take money out of our pockets when in that same area there's 20 shows a year.
Well,
it's just impossible.
It's a double-edged sword because, Chris, you have a show every weekend to do, but now that there's fucking 30 shows in every city, half of them suck balls, so I'd rather stay home at half these shows.
I know. And
right?
until you try them, you don't know which ones those
yeah.
are.
And we all have the FOMO, and we have to go do these shows.
100%.
And we don't know the. 100%. I mean, there's some, like, dude, if I'd come to you a year and a half ago and I'd been like, yo, by the way, I'm from the future. AWA is going to move their con, and it's literally going to be one of the worst shows you're ever going to do. You would have called me a fucking idiot. You would call me an idiot. You'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, Tim, whatever. Like,
I mean,
but look,
I would have said where they're moving it to, and you would have said Congress, and I'm like, yeah, it's gonna take a dip.
Yeah,
because I mean, every show that does that big move from that small venue to the big, every single show, that first year is going to be down. Now, it didn't have to be as down as it was this year for that show. There could have been some better decisions made. But every show does take that hit when they change venues. It's just how it is. And change dates. And they did it at one time. It would have been better if they had changed the date at the same venue for 1 or 2 years before they did the venue change. But
I mean, to me, that's a whole entire new show. You 100%. Lose so much of your credibility.
It's a brand new show. 20 years is straight out the window. Brand new show.
So whoever's looking at starting a hotel anime show in October in Atlanta, there's an opening.
And it might be good. Who knows? I mean,
Anime Town Atlanta. I'm sorry, what?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I did one in early November. It wasn't great. So,
I was there, and mine was even less great than yours. So
that's right. So maybe fall in Atlanta after Dragon Con is just a no-no. Maybe that should be the new rule. It's like wearing white shoes after Labor Day.
But it wasn't for fucking AWA in October.
I know.
That's the weird part. Because it had something different and unique with it. Now it's not. It's just another show. Yeah. And people don't get that. When you go from a hotel to a convention center, it loses its normal identity. Show.
Yeah. It really does. So, well, we've got a really cheery outlook on 2024. Super glad.
Well, it's done with now. Yeah,
I know.
Fuck that.
This year has been on fire. It's in a dumpster. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Ready for 2025.
I was hoping this would be happier.
Well, then let's switch it. So then we're going to do our overall year of 2024 related to cons, not necessarily Pacific shows, but the overall industry as a whole here.
Yeah.
We're going to do our favorite yays and our favorite nays, that decision-making, thought processes, actions, whatever that these conventions did that you yayed, which means you liked and you're for, or nay and you did not like it.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you my first nay.
Do it.
Is for me, I'm looking at all you promoters, all of you.
Right in the fours.
You guys are fucking vendors by having too many guests at shows. Oh. They do not bring the value that you think they do. And
Nostalgia Con.
Yes, Nostalgia Con. If you're listening, bro, you can do 80. You can do half of what you bring right now and have the same crowd. Like, and I'm sure your wallet is hurting with the decision making that you made on that.
90s Retro Con.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, like, guys, like, you don't need. I mean, MegaCon was a 90,000 person show with like 35 guests. With like 35 guests.
Yeah.
And, when you have combined of all of these and the comic guest and anime voice actors and YouTube people, and suddenly a normal guest list that you would go kind of walk in the back and see used to be 25, 30. Yeah. And then you would have all the other fill-in, the comic guest, the popping guest, the little thing here and there. But and now it's
doing 100 tiered autograph things. It's just the money adds up astronomically.
They're wiping the show floor, and they're taking money from other celebrities that I don't know why, like, these agents haven't kind of thrown a little bit more fit about this. Is that when you have 60 guests at
now
a
they're
show,
doing exclusive agreements.
Yes, they are. I mean, they've been doing that forever, but there's it's becoming very much so like I know it sounds stupid, but it's literally the most American thing ever and it's all around the world. This isn't just US. I know international cons are doing the same thing, but like, it's the most US capitalistic based
It is.
almost entitlement of like, because these top corporations, the big guys are going to be better. So the con promoter, the bigger celebrity guest, and the bigger agents are all going to win at literally everyone else's expense.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's a big nay for me. That's a fucking big nay for me.
It's a big nay.
I'm over it, and I know it's not going to change. And if it does, it definitely ain't going to be overnight. It ain't going to be in 2025. But I would love for them to at least adapt accordingly, at least a little bit, cut from 120 to 80. Yeah. I mean, that's still a lot. I mean, fuck. It's still an insane amount of people. And promoters, it doesn't add more value to your show.
I don't think you can say that 100%. It does add value to a show.
I will.
But
I'll say
not as much as they think it does. I'll say that.
No. Well,
I've been at shows where you can tell there's no guest there.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is that like you could plan accordingly. There's not a single show out there, and I will say this look at New York Comic Con. How many guests do they have? You can scroll one time,
no clue,
and go to the bottom, and there's like 15 guests. Yeah. And they bring in 200, 400,000 people. San Diego Comic Con has no official guest most of the time.
Right. But again, those shows aren't really in the normal level of a con. I get why a smaller con and maybe a smaller city wants and needs to have a bigger guest list until they grow a show. Well, the whole idea would be you need these guests to grow this show, and then once the show's grown, then you can wean back. But nobody weans back. They just keep adding to it. It's like every show's a sequel to the last one.
I've talked to a lot of promoters, and a lot of them, they're getting bullied by fans and saying, we want more, we want more. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes you just tell them no.
Yeah.
I mean,
because guess what? Like, they're going to show up
hey,
and come to the show anyway.
They're going to show up anyway. Yeah. You know, do your reunions, do this stuff. But like, if you have an Avatar reunion, have 4 to 5, not 17. If you have a Naruto reunion, you don't need all 30 people from like D-list people that you have no clue who they even are. Like, fill that in with another reunion from Spaceballs or like whatever it may be. Do what you're going to do. But like, there's no show out there that you can't have 60 guests at, big show, and do everything you want to do and still get 150,000 people there. Yeah. If you do it correctly, stop being bullied by fucking agents, promoters. Stop doing that. You're giving in, and guess what? We're paying the consequences for you being kind of a little bit of like a baby about stuff.
They have us over a barrel, and they know they can get away with it because we can't do anything about it. We can't organize and stop it. And that's going to keep being a problem until we figure out how to do that.
On the Con Culture Convo, we don't agree. Okay. All of our viewers are going to all rally outside, start picketing, you know.
I mean, I think most vendors agree with they do see the benefits of having a vendor union, but they also know that it can't happen.
You'd have to call it something else besides a union because there's way too many people that it's a dirty word for so many people.
Sure is.
And organizational, the you need a Convention Organization Society. Yeah.
That can make a con change and make an industry change that it's not all on. If we could figure out how to make it not on all our backs. First of all, we also let these same celebrities run rimshot auto and everybody. Like they get to set when they're coming, set their price, decide not to come at the last second and screw everybody. Like they have so much power in this industry because promoters have given that to them. The truth is they're just normal people, and we have allowed them to completely monopolize the money, and it really shouldn't be. We should be putting limits on how much they should be charging for autographs, and they need to knock this guarantees down to an interest. Like there's no reason for some of these people to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in guarantees. There just isn't,
bro.
And if
as someone who's tried,
as
someone who's tried to do like a pop culture Comic-Con event, looked at a lot of stuff. Dude, there were some really shitty D-list guests that had 20K guarantees. And I'm like,
and that shouldn't be.
I'm sorry, what? Like, I'm talking D-list live action people where I'm like, you're like the 5th rate zombie on Walking Dead and you want 10K.
But those guarantees are what's driving all these new price increments.
Yep.
And that is the problem. We've allowed them to have these. I tell you what, if somebody had this $15,000 guarantee and everybody knew they weren't worth it. Instead of these promoters allowing a manager to be like, no, you got to have this guy, and then this gets you these other guys.
Yeah.
Say no. The fifth show that says no, guess what? That guarantee is going to drop.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. It's supply and demand. Yeah. Promoters let these managers run all over them.
They're bullying
really
them.
Do.
And it's a combination of attendees that are the loudest. And we're talking very minority. Like, honestly, it's, if you're watching this, it's not you who we're talking about. We're talking about the people that go on these Facebook groups and shit talk every post.
Sure.
And say, why don't you do this? You should bring out this person. Blah, blah, blah. Like we literally, for my Anime Town Pensacola show, we had this kid comment on every single thing how we're not bringing this anime voice actor from Japan. He's fucking dead. He died like 6 years ago. And I'm like, dude, we cannot bring this guy back. And he's like, well, I guess you're not trying hard enough. I'm like, oh my God. Are you serious right now? He's literally died right before COVID started. And then there's some that are like 90 years old from Japan. They're not going to fly across the world to go to Pensacola, Florida for a 2,000 person show. Right. Like, you're out of your mind. And they don't get the differences between a small show and a New York Comic-Con.
We're giving too much power to those type of suggestions. But really, it comes down to these managers of these celebrities, and they're driving the industry prices up. And then, of course, promoters raise all the prices on the vendors because they just want their bills to be covered by the people bringing the biggest amount of money in. That's vendors. And every domino affects the next one. And that's the state of our industry because of that.
Yeah. And it just sucks because we're the only ones paying the consequences. Us and the attendees are the only ones. Yeah. And yet we're the most meaningful ones out there. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. And they might want their show to have a good buzz, and they might care about that, but they don't care that they still made their money and the show bombed.
I mean, I miss the days where like you could call a promoter or at least a vendor floor manager and they pick up.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We're talking 5 years ago. I had connections with everyone. Like Read, Pop, FanX, all these people I would talk to, I would get an answer within the same day. Whether it was a yes or a no was irrelevant. But I got the answer. Now, I mean, there's some small town shows that, like, I'm not even getting an email returned back. I'm not even hearing about an application I put in.
They don't even answer their Facebook messages anymore. That used to be the guarantee to get a message. If you couldn't get an email answer, you get on their Facebook. They don't even care. Mm-hmm. It's just either an automated message that you never hear from them again, or it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they don't care. They're going to get it from everybody. The influx, the amount of vendors that are out there now is staggering. Staggering. Yeah. Anyway, upbeat review for 2024. We're not.
So let's go with some. All right. So I did my nays that went on for fucking an hour. Let's talk about some. Let's talk about some yays. What were some yays that you have about the industry?
I already mentioned my yay was just promoters like Big Lit Comic Con just taking care of vendors and Motor City for that matter. And it's nice to be taken care of and with little things. Because we get zero appreciation 99% of the time. So it was just nice to feel that.
You know who is also another good one is Jeremy from Huntsville. He's a fucking OG.
Yeah, that's true.
I like him a lot.
That's a good point.
He is his ego is exactly the same amount that has always been since day one when he had 100 people to 20,000. He's got
a great show.
You can't tell the difference at all. The guy's the same every time you talk to him. He's a genuine nice guy. The same with Mike from Charleston, even though it's a small show, it's great.
Let's not gloss over Jeremy. He's figured out how to have a lot of guests at a show, and yet they still have money to come shop with the vendors.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a very important skill that most promoters don't have. And his booths they've gone up a little bit. They're still very affordable compared to the money that you make.
Insanely reasonable. Yeah.
And he has a great guest list every year, and everybody makes money. He's figured out how to do it.
He's found out how to figure out, like, okay, I could bring in 46 guests, have the vendor show floor this big, the ticket prices is big, and I'm going to make my cake, but everyone else will have a bite too.
Right.
Like, it doesn't, promoters, it does not have to be at someone else's expense for you to be successful.
No. It doesn't. Great show example. It really is, because I wish more promoters were like him.
Ben is good as well. Ben Penrod is fantastic as well. He's done a lot of really good.
He does the same thing.
All of his shows
how to
very
get a
similar.
Good mix.
And if you talk to him at a show, he walks around for like half the show.
Yeah.
You know, during setup, he walks around, during breakdown, Saturday at the end of the day, whatever. You'll see him. Like you can talk to him, and he's common sense. He's well spoken. Sure. He's going to answer your question.
But again, these guys are in the minority of the promoters in the business. And these guys have got, I wish that the big promoters would get this reckoning of, I wish there was a way we could get them to see this and then listen to us, but there isn't, because somebody's going to pay it. They can put whatever price they want on it. So
and they don't care dollars, and they don't care. They don't. These big shows don't care about the quality of the vendor show floor. I will call you out right now. All of you guys don't care at all, because you wouldn't.
Again, we're supposed to be focusing on yays because we've been not so negative on this. Yays. What other yays is there? That was my yay.
Yay that 2024 is fucking over. That's a yay for me.
Clearly, that's what we really wanted to say. So, yeah, we should probably get off of this one. Let's move on to 2025.
Yay for Chris having a TikTok video go viral for a day. That was pretty fun.
I did.
He had like 28,000. It was the one where you put on the McDonald's glasses. Video. It was the stupidest, quickest one we've ever done. And it was like, it had the biggest, most viral thing. It was hilarious. I loved it. It was great. It was so dumb.
The internet's weird. Yeah, that's funny.
But I mean, look, I had a really bad 2024. Like it was just my personal life, my business, the new business I launched, like everything is going poorly, but I'm healthy. I'm here. I have goals for 2025. I'm transitioning to new business model, to trying out new things. I'm not just going to sit here and keep taking it on the chin. Like we need to like adapt and change. And I think a lot of people could utilize 2024 being a negative as a positive for trying new things. I mean, what do you have to lose at some of these shows you know are going to suck?
Nothing.
Like try new layout, try new booth setup, try new product.
So many new layouts. So many this year.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will say this. My year was better than yours. I had a terrible 2023. So my 2024 overall was up over my last year, which is exactly what you want in sales. There was still a lot of shows that were down, but for me, I had a better year than last year. So, you know, I'm looking for, I hope that trend continues for 2025 and it doesn't go backwards. But either way, I'm going to jump in with both feet and see what happens.
God, I hope I'm not below you when you do that.
You just said below me.
Below you. BELOW. Yeah. I don't want to do either one of those. To be honest with you.
On that note.
Yes. So yeah, we just wanted to give you guys. Yeah, we're gonna do another podcast related to 2025 and kind of the intro of everything we're going to talk about. But this is our recap of 2024 with some lovely thoughts and mostly negative, unfortunately.
Clearly, but mostly negative. Didn't even realize it was going to go that way, but it was definitely mostly negative.
We did not. You know, we do like a plan where we break down what we're going to talk about, and like the yays and nays, they were the same, but like the yays lasted for like 30 seconds, and the nays were just like 30 minutes. So
there's a lot of nays.
It is what it is.
A lot of nays.
But it's authentic and it's reality, and it is what it is. We're all going through it together, and that's both really, really good and also really bad for all of us. But,
this industry is a roller coaster. Always has been, always will be, and you're going to have up years and down years.
Yeah, for all of you ACers, guys, like it will get better as long as you write it out and step up your game. Now, remember, you can control your expectations, your attitude. Your output, you're trying new things. Like for me, I'm kind of, here's a little end all be all thing that I did not talk to Chris about. So I'm going to throw this in here and see if he has anything. Do you have like a New Year's resolution for 2025 for the con industry? Like, what do you want to do to make yourself better or do something that you want to do that maybe you haven't done in the past?
I guess I don't really do a lot that I haven't done in the past because I'm always looking forward and evolving not only my booth setup, but I always like to try to find shows that nobody else has found. I have a rule: if you can find a good show and you're the only one there, you've got 1 to 2 years tops. until everybody else in the industry finds it. So I'm always on a mission to find
Remember when we had DreamHack for 3 years? Oh my God. It was delightful.
Those are good years.
I remember when we saw a fellow friend show up. We're like, wait, how did you find out about this? And I walked over to Chris and he was like, who the fuck did you tell? And he's like, I didn't say anything. I was like, I didn't say anything either. You know?
Yeah. But it's going to happen, you know.
It is. There's too many resources
now to look through and find, and eventually the word gets out. So I'm always looking for those. I'm always looking to, you know, evolve my setup, evolve products. You know, I've always got little goals like that. This year, I think I'd like to get into wardrobe and test the waters on that.
On what?
Wardrobe. Printing on shirts, t-shirts.
Oh, ooh, okay. So that's a interesting industry. Yeah,
it is. But I've watched closely as several other artists have jumped into it and seem to be very happy, and some that aren't. But I think I have a pretty good angle on it, and see what happens. So that'd be that. I guess those would be kind of my my goals for 2025. How about yours?
One thing I want to do is I need to do a show in Maine, and then I'll have all 50 states knocked off my sales list.
It's weird that you haven't done a show in Maine.
I know it's not like, I mean, I've done shows in North and South Dakota, for Christ's sake. Like, I've done Alaska, I've done Hawaii, I've done, you know, every state in between. But I have not.
It's weird that you haven't been to the 50th state. Like, I mean, in our business, it's very easy to get to visit all 50 states. Very easy.
Dude, I don't know anybody besides you that's done it.
Really?
Literally. What? Everybody's like, oh yeah, I haven't been to Washington, or oh, I haven't been to Idaho, or you know what I mean? Like actually gone there. Not drive through. Drive through does not count.
Right. No. Well,
because I drove into Maine, but I was passing through it to go up into down in New York or whatever. But like, yeah, but I haven't been there. It was literally like a strip on a highway where like the toll was like going over like this, and like, no, I need to at least get out and put my feet on the ground, you know.
Well, so I mean, that's why
I also need to do a show in every year. In every show, and like in every state. So
I mean, I don't do a show in every state by any stretch of the imagination. There's certain states that just aren't worth doing shows in.
You've never done before?
No, I've done shows.
You've done a show in Boise.
I know. That's why I'm saying there shouldn't be any shows.
Well, that's in Idaho.
I'm saying not every show, every city needs a show, or every state needs a show every year, and I definitely don't do them in every state. But yes, I have done all the states repeatedly and many times. Either passing through to another state to a show or doing a show there. So you know, it's I mean, Maine's got some decent shows. They're not great, but they're good enough to go and do a show in Maine. And man, that state's gorgeous. Oh
yes, I want to be there. I want to be there in like a June, July, April, August. Sometime, you know,
July is Lobster Fest in Maine, ladies and gentlemen. That's the time to visit.
I'm allergic, so I will not be partaking in lobster. But you know,
no wonder you're so depressed.
It's because
why would you be allergic to lobster?
Lobster's so shellfish because I'm selfish. That's why.
No shrimp either. Oh
no joke there.
Bro.
Didn't get that joke. All right. Cool.
This episode has just gotten more depressing every time. We just keep
I love fish. More. I want to go up there and have fish and chips, and like, you know, there's a lot of fantastic food.
I did a show in Maine this year and this fall, and went out with our friend John Swayze. Shout out to John.
Yep.
And we went and got seafood, and he got, of course, whole lobster, as you do in Maine, and he broke it open. And he poured out the meat. It was liquid. Neither of us had ever seen that before.
Is that really good or bad?
Oh, that's not good. There's no way liquid meat's good. Rule of thumb.
Especially cold water.
Yeah.
Like fish should be a little bit more firm.
Our server had never seen it. She went and showed it to the chef. He's like, I've never seen that before. Nobody can figure out.
Like, did they overboil it or something, or what?
No, because it would just make the meat tougher. I've had overboiled seafood; it just makes it tougher. This was flat out white liquid. All the claws, same thing. It was like something had happened in this lobster's life that was really bad, and you wouldn't know until you cooked him and then broke him open. Needless to say, John got another lobster, and it was delicious. But I thought that was an interesting anecdote. Anyway,
so random.
Very. Very random.
So my thing is, I want to get to Maine, and I want to I'm really excited about my new layout for Pop Cathedral and the stuff that I'm working on with that.
That's cool.
And for me, this is something that I need to desperately work on is I need to step up my social media game. I think that is a way that most vendors do not
I don't understand
make,
what's a social media game.
do not make an income that we could base off of the TikToks, the YouTubes, the whatever.
Oh, I'm fully aware. I'm terrible at all of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, I want to step that up. Doesn't mean I have to be perfect or necessarily make money off of it, but like my online presence sucks balls and I need to stop with that because it's one of those things where like I have a cool product, I have something I can push with it and I need to do it. And the few posts I made have actually done pretty well. And I'm like, well, it's a sign, but then like, it's also really hard. Like I'm not good at it. And so it's just hard. Like it's so hard to do things, Mom. It's so hard to do these things. TikTok's hard. Like,
TikToks are hard.
It is. Yeah, like this TikTok's gonna go viral because I'm gonna clip this. Because that's hard, and they're gonna be like, look at these two old fucking white dudes like complaining about TikTok.
Yeah,
fucking boomers, bro.
TikTok land is just hard. Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
Now, I will say this. I went back, and this goes back to 2019. I tried to force Chris to make a TikTok and post all this shit content when he was starting his vlog.
I did
he did it for like a week. He did it for like a week.
Yeah, it was almost a week. Yeah.
But like, if he'd done that this whole time, and God knows, he'd have millions.
All the people that have become millionaires just since then on TikTok, multi-millionaires.
Yeah,
and I was there at the beginning doing.
You were. Yeah, if you had just kept with it, you would have at least 500,000 subs right now on there, and your YouTube channel would be even further. Crazy to think about. Yeah.
Okay.
What if? Also, if you bought Bitcoin,
depressing year this is. Okay.
Let's 2024. Cheers to you being over. Cheers.
And 2025 begins. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next year.
Later, guys. Join the convo.